Now, you're probably all very familiar with what a TED Talk often looks like. A speaker's walking around on the stage, gesturing with animation, an occasional prop. Well, this one's not going to look anything like that. I would be hanging onto this podium for dear life and using lots of visual aids. And your job, should you choose to accept it, is to look at this image and think about the smell of 60,000 roses. Well, I tell you a story. I bet you're pretty perceptive, so you've noticed that I talk funny. Well, I'll tell you why. The short version. Head-on car wreck, coma 5 weeks, hospital 5 months, wheelchair 5 years. The doctors told my family I would die. When I didn't, they told my family I would never wake up. When I did, they told my family I would never walk or talk again. So you can see why I was enormously motivated to talk again, just so I could tell those doctors to go jump in a lake. But it actually was, as for many of people here, I'm sure, just being underestimated just fed my tendency to overachieve. It was an amazing opportunity for creativity through resilience, because I got to learn to talk and walk again, as well as eat, breathe, make art with my non-dominant hand, all that stuff. But that's really yesterday's news. And I'd rather show you my most recent creative odyssey.
How would I describe downtown?
Seattle as a city. In terms of very specific areas, this isn't necessarily the nicest place in Seattle, just because you've got the freeway exit right there.
I know that this was a really ripped up construction area for a long time.
This corner and that wall have been sort of blah for a long time.
30-foot flower pot right here.
They're probably gonna need a fire truck to water it. I'm just kidding.
I think we probably don't appreciate what goes in behind the scenes of creating a piece of public art. So I think maybe the more you see or the more dramatic it is, it probably helps us to remember that there's a lot of effort that goes into making that happen.
You know, personally, I like it a lot.
I mean, it brings some life and color to this area, which is nice. It makes me feel good.
Seattle's going to be, for the most part, gray sky as you come out of that tunnel, and this is something bright.
It manages to survive in this urban setting with these huge buildings around it. It creates a focal point.
But it's something that you want to look at for a while because of all the different elements, the movements that happen, and the things that it can do.
When I always look at it, I always kind of want to see what it's doing. And I've seen a lot of people staring up at it too, so I think it's well liked by the general public.
It's impressive. If you're down this part of town, you're going to say, well, let's go see the flower pot.
I think it's made it a more pleasant place to sit and hang out.
It's public art that really stands out.
I think it's great. I think it beautifies this city. We need more of it.
Thanks. Well, the amazing amount of, as you can imagine, resiliency required to complete that 7-year project got me thinking about the role of resiliency and creativity. It's required to get from looking to thinking and looking, or visual awareness. It's the method that you can achieve visual awareness. And that includes that visual awareness is a great skill set to have because it enables you to be aware of what's unusual in the landscape. Can you see what's unusual in that landscape? And it also enables you to be aware of juxtapositions, juxtapositions. I'll explain this one. The storefront on the right, you can see it has pastries in the window. It's a bakery. The storefront on the left has dead rats in the window. It stopped me short when I was walking in Paris. And I can't decide if it's a stunning example of geographical symbiosis or perhaps just grandfathered zoning. Visual awareness also enables you to become more aware of context. This lust bus is parked in front of the palace at Versailles, which is kind of the historic ground zero for material lust. And visual awareness also makes you aware of the effect the visible can have on the invisible. In this example, that fabulous little neurotransmitter of punctuation, the comma, totally changes the invisible meaning of this sentence. But if you take a different viewpoint and really question what you see, it changes what you see, and that changes the questioning, and on and on and on. So it kind of evolves the questioning, and evolving questioning is an important skill to have in research, entrepreneurship, inventing, dealing with cranky kids. And then this is where my evolution of questioning as one of the projects that's led me to. This is my current research project. It's called aesthetic engineering, in which I'm hybridizing entities that do not usually reproduce, nor do they have genes, with the twofold goal of increased beauty and thought propagation. So in the center there, see that piece in the center? That's botanical scales for hornflower. And the what if question here is, what if horns could bloom? Or what if flowers could play horn music? What would it sound like? So what I'm thinking, you can see the sort of rhythmic scalping on the bronze leaf of the green, and on the edges of the green leaf. Those are the rhythmic intervals that music represents. They're also around the lip wrap of the red flower. So, and then I collected these images after the fact so I could show you kind of what I was thinking about. See that piece on the far right? That's the force that shapes seashells. And the what if question is, what if there were a force that actually grew seashells? What if it took available materials like sand and seawater and fish and created shells? What would that look like? and I was working with mother pearl coloration, swoopy shapes, blooming behavior. Here's some reference imagery that shows you a little bit about what I was thinking about. And center left is the skyflower with cumulus leaf. And the what if question here is, what if clouds could bloom? What would that look like? Would it be clouds made of flowers or flowers made of clouds? So I was thinking about the potential shape of the petals and of the leaves, reference imagery. And this is something I would love to see. What if lightning could bloom? Wouldn't that be cool? So I was thinking about what would a blossom that lightning would make? What might that look like? On the coloration, you see the stainless steel across the bronze shaped with lightning. There's some reference imagery. And finally, I decided to cut out the middleman and just make the gene itself. This piece is taller than me, and it's the gene for the sheen on folds of satin. And the what if question is, what if that could be genetically implicated? Well, how would that, I was working with the folding shape as well as the reflective light coloration. So there's some imagery. So remember those 60,000 roses I was talking about earlier? I showed you those and asked you that question because I wanted to show you how easy it is to add thinking to looking and how that will hopefully inspire questions. I hope you enjoyed it. Yeah. In the spirit of keeping the conversation alive, yeah.
What signs do you look for evolving questioning?
What signs do I look for evolving questioning? In me? Yeah, well, my problem has never been evolving questioning. My problem has always been, how do I deal with all these questions? And the way I look for it is through visual input. The more visual intrigue I have, the more questions there are. And for me particularly, reading, and precisely because it is not visual. When you read, like the words red chair, everybody in here knows what that is, but I guarantee you everybody is thinking of a different color red and a different kind of chair. So if I read that, it really inspires me to think, what might that look like? A lot of curiosity.
Any other questions? Oh, back here. Oh,
Yeah.
Go ahead and be nice and loud. Okay, where are you when you get most of your inspiration? So typically you're reading, but is there a particular environment that inspires you?
The question was, where am I when I get inspiration? The shower is great. But I do believe that your environment really, well, for me, my environment really affects me, so I have made my environment really cool because I'm never bored, but I can absorb visual stuff pretty readily, so I have to keep changing it to keep me interested. So every morning, this kind of drives people crazy, but every morning I get up and I rearrange something. even if it's just rearranging the flowers on the table, just changing something. Maybe one more. Yeah.
Yeah, what did you say to yourself? Maybe not out loud, but to yourself when you were coming out of the coma and you were starting to recover. What did you say to yourself?
The question was, what did I say to myself when I was coming out of the coma and starting to recover? I can remember exactly. I said, okay, Smarty Alec, how you gonna get on this one? Yeah.
Anybody else? We have time for one more. Okay, is that it?
There's one. Right there in the red. Were you raising your hand? Okay.
How do you solve that answer?
Well, I'm not, maybe this won't help it. Oh, thank you. I think that people always ask me, aren't you mad that this happened? Why do you think this happened to you? So I had to cope with the answer just because I got tired of being asked. So the why is, I think the universe has a really wicked sense of humor. And she said, okay, Smarty Alec, you like a challenge? I'll give you a challenge. You're an artist, wham. You can't use your dominant hand. You love to yak on. I'll give you a really weird voice. You like to exercise, I'll make it so you can't walk hardly. But so what? It just made me, you know what they say about if it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger. This made me stronger and more. Hopefully funny.